Hi everyone, you're watching The Tattooed Psychic. I am The Tattooed Psychic. Thanks for tuning in. If you like this video, please hit the like and subscribe button. That's my dog, Happy. And I just wanted to say thank you for everyone who's emailing me, booking sessions with me, and just reaching out and wanting to learn about spirit. I also do a podcast on Spotify called The Tattooed Psychic, and I post different things on there than I do my YouTube channel sometimes. So check that out if you like listening to podcasts. That's on Spotify. And if you like a reading with me, please, or just want to be a guest on my show, please email readingswithfaye@gmail. But anyway, let's get to today's subject. Usually I draw cards for the week, and usually I'm not discussing certain things, but I want to talk to you about trauma right now because a lot of people are learning to deal with their trauma. It seems to be a energy that people are having to face, including myself. I've had a lot of trauma in my life ever since I was little, so there's a lot of work that I've been having to do. And recently I've been thinking about a part of my life in my late teens, early 20s, where I was living, on Capitol Hill and in a band, and had a lot of was surrounded by drag queens and gay men, and how they all died of AIDS. Like, they started getting AIDS and just dying, like my whole community, my whole family. And I'm going to be honest with you. Spirit sat with me this morning and I said, why do I keep thinking about these guys? I haven't thought about them in years. I haven't, I miss them terribly, and it's a lonelier world without them, to be honest. But Spirit said, because you never really faced the trauma of losing them. And sometimes the trauma is so deep and thick, we don't want to face it, so we just keep going on in life, you know what I mean? We just put a band-aid on it and just say, fuck it, I gotta keep going. And that's me my whole life. I've had to survive, so I gotta keep going. And but now that I'm in a comfortable place in life and I'm learning to deal with things and taking care of my own healing self, I realize I haven't dealt with a lot of my trauma. And having to deal with it now is painful, so sometimes I cry. Last week I had to face the trauma of being a young mother, and some of the things I might have not been great at. And I was crying to my son, texting him, and my son's just great. I just gotta tell you guys that. He's everything to me. But it's about facing trauma, right? And it's like a lot of my life has been trauma, and it's hard to face. And so if I'm having a hard time facing it, I know a lot of you are too, and Spirit says that. A lot of people are facing their internal traumas to release them so they can have and be their authentic self. That's the only way you're going to do it. If you're seeking to fulfill your dreams, if you know you have a big mission in this life, if you're just sick of feeling shitty, right? You have to face the trauma. You have to face what happened to you, because it's going to come up eventually. Trust me, I'm Grandma Faye at this point. I don't have any grandkids, but I'm just saying I'm in my crone times and I'm dealing with it. So I say, learn to deal with the trauma early. And if you're a younger person, deal with your trauma at a young age and look at what it is and face it. It's going to suck sometimes. It's going to be painful. Some of the things I had to witness in my own childhood were painful, and I felt so bad for that little girl. But at the same time, I had to face them and love her and let her go and heal that child, because otherwise I just can't be who I need to be for myself, for my kids, for my clients, for my dog. I can't be who I need to be unless I do it, because I'm always running from the trauma. And if you are, my best advice is face it. So people say, how do I deal with my trauma? Well, you can go to therapy. You can find a healer that works for you, as long as they are actually working for you. I know a lot of them just want to keep you coming. I was telling a client the other day that I don't want them to keep coming to me. I like my clients to get to the point where they can read me, if you know what I mean. Like, it's where they've done so much work on themselves that they're at this elevated level of where they want to be in life, and they can understand their spirit guides, they can understand their spirit self, they can understand the power of energy. And that's where I want them to be, right? Like, Why would I want to keep seeing the same person with the same problems? And I'd feel like a failure, like I'm not doing my job. And so that being said, it is important for us to face that trauma, and it's hard. So this past like few days have been, I felt bad because I really mean to make videos on meditation and all that, but Spirit's like, you know what, even the tarot readers I watch on YouTube, they're like, it's okay to take time off. It's okay to reflect on your life. I have to heal this trauma before I can fully give in my healing videos. I just believe that, because I believe if your job is a healer, no matter what kind of healing you do, you have to heal yourself before you can truly shine to the people who are seeking some guidance on how to heal from themselves, if you know what I mean. And that's just how I believe. It doesn't mean everyone has to believe that. It's just me. And this stuff works for me. And so what I did to heal my trauma is I got so, I guess, pissed off at feeling shitty, so pissed off at letting the people who hurt me and well, somebody tried to kill me a few years ago. I mean, I literally saw death, and it really fucked me up, I won't lie, but there was trauma before that. It's just years of trauma, and memories pop up, and I'm like, oh my God, I forgot all about that, but it's there because this stuff lives in our cellular structure. It lives inside of our energy, and it's hard to explain to people, unless you understand that your body is energy and the cells hold that energy. And especially if you're a young child getting abused, it's just soaking up, and it stays with you a long time until you face it. Like, I've got major abandonment issues. I've got, my mother never wanted me. I've got issues. I'm kind of over the mommy issues, to be honest. I've been dealing with that for a long time. I'm dealing more with the trauma of what it's done to my body and the abuse I endured emotionally, physically, sexually, spiritually. I mean, it's a lot for me. And some of you don't have all of that. Some of you just have emotional trauma, physical trauma, whatever the case may be. I think physical and emotional go hand in hand, because you can't be physically abused and not be emotionally abused at the same time. But that being said, whatever your trauma is, it's important for you to identify it and peel that layer back, baby. Get it done, get it out, get it over with. So that being said, I'm going to draw some cards. Oh yes. So for whatever reason, I wasn't even going to draw cards today. But as I was talking, Spirit had me hold this deck the whole time, but I'm not done talking, so we'll just put more energy into this deck and then we'll draw some cards. But what I did is I got real, and I got angry enough at myself and felt like, you know what, I have a lot to share. I mean, I've been doing spiritual work for years, since I was little. I've toured the country, I wrote a book, I've been in documentaries, and it's like I just let all of that, I just didn't care anymore. And that's what trauma does. And there were times when I was, so attacked for who I was, that I just got tired of fighting. People are fucking brutal. And I can be brutal too. And I don't like being brutal. So why am I having brutal people in my life? And I had to look at that. I had to get serious fucking questions with myself, Why am I allowing this? I want to be this loving person, but all I attract are these abusive people, and honestly, I helped all of them. And they helped me in a fucked up way, It gets you to a point. Had that not happened to me, I wouldn't be here having these epiphanies right now about how powerful I really am, and we are as human beings to heal, and how many universal energies are out there helping us, and how we're so connected to this great source, and we're not taught that. We're taught to hate ourselves. And when you are taught that your whole life, like I was, you have to be able to be strong enough to stand alone. And I am. I've been alone. I like being alone. It's okay. You have to be strong enough to stand alone, and you have to be strong enough to face the truth. And it ain't always pretty, honey. And that being said, when I look at people, men and women who date, and I gotta tell you, I just can't imagine anyone in my life, because everyone that's in my age bracket or whatever, even just 10 years younger or whatever, all they do is bitch about their exes and blah blah blah, and I'm just so not there. And you realize that as you start healing your trauma, that you start getting out of the negative when you start reprogramming your brain to focus on a higher vibration, to attract more success in your life, whatever success is to you. And I realized that, like, man, if people just realize the more they bitch about their life, and the more they complain, the more they whine, and oh, it's so unattractive, first of all, but also it just, your life is going to always stay there. And I'm somebody, and I know some of you are like this, where you want to get the most out of life. You don't want your life to stay in this victim mode. You're fighting to get out of it, and you don't know how to do it. And all I can tell you, as someone who's doing it and has been doing this for a long time, is you got to do the work, and it takes a constant, everyday commitment to want to change. Just like an addict, you're addicted to this trauma, you're addicted to this negative energy, you're addicted to this energy. And you've got to break it, and it takes time. For me, I go to YouTube, I find speakers, I listen to scientists, how the brain works, I listen to motivational speakers, I listen to tarot readers, astrologers, and I take bits and pieces from everyone. I don't, some things some people say I don't jive with, and that's what I suggest. There's not one person who has all the answers. You take bits and pieces and get the tools that work for you, and it shifts your life. For me, it was doing cellular work. I believe in that. I believe in the end power of energy, because that's how I operate. So for me, it was getting to that energy core. And I think that's true with everyone. You have to change that brain pattern, how it's thinking, what it's addicted to, and also accept the fact you're connected to a universal source that you have access to. You just need to get it. Good stuff. And as you listen to my podcast, watch my YouTube channel, I'm going to keep growing with more and more, meditations and all of that. But I'm going through my own thing too, and I keep it real. I don't bullshit anyone. I'm not going to ever come on here and say, oh, and try to produce something I don't feel comfortable producing yet, because I don't have all the knowledge for it, and I'm never going to do that, and I never have. I studied energy for 13 years, and to figure out how to do this work, what these energies are. I mean, if you could talk to my spirit guides, I question them. Don't get me wrong, and I suggest you do too. It proves, it gives it validation if you have proof. You know what I mean? And I just drew a card. Who is working with us? I wasn't going to. Spirit's so funny. The divine direction. Look at that. Director, I mean. Intervention and purpose. Divine intervention is occurring. Know that you are being guided. Happiness is your purpose. I don't even know what to say at this point, right? And so many of you are waking up. I feel it. I get emails, I get readings, I see your spirits. It's awesome. And you got to keep doing it. But one of the steps to waking up is dealing with your trauma. It just must be done. It sucks, but it must be done. But look, you have power around you. You want me to draw another one? You understand? We're always protected. We're always guided. We've had Jawal Kur, I can't say the word, correct me if I'm wrong, I am. Dharma unfolding, look at that. Remember that you are on a path. Take one step at a time to happiness. Both these cards today are mentioning happiness, because clearly what we all want is happiness, right? And I always try to remind people, happiness is an energy you can't keep consistent, right? We have to have a balance. We have to understand our sadness to appreciate the happiness. I hope that makes sense. So don't try to achieve happiness every day. You'll fail, and you'll feel like a failure. But you can achieve a place in your life where you're operating on a high vibration, where you will start reacting differently to situations that made you unhappy. You'll be able to walk away from them and have that contentment still of self once you get to that level. And that's the way to do it, is by practice. It really is, I gotta tell you. Please ask questions in the comments or email me, whatever you need, whatever, guys. Look at this. Galactic mushroom, the divine matrix. So here we are. I mean, I don't know what else to say. This is what we're doing. We got to manifest things. Once you get to the higher level and you deal with your trauma and that is released, your body feels lighter. It feels free because those cells aren't holding on to those weights. That's old energy sometimes, and it weighs us down. And when we deal with it and we release it, it opens us up to freedom. And who doesn't want freedom, honeys? Because I sure do. And they had me draw one more. Look at that. Green tar. Look at her. Beautiful. Supreme protection. You are protected. Cords are being cut. Move beyond imitation. Trust. Sorry, I need more coffee. I'm going to have a sip. It's early. There you go. And one thing I will say is this. You'll see me and talk about self-sabotage. I just made a podcast about self-sabotage. It's on my Spotify. It's not on my YouTube. And self-sabotage is another thing that happens when you're in this process, because things start going so well and you start manifesting things and you're really feeling good about things, and then the old self comes in and starts to self-sabotage. And so that's normal because you're lifting those cells anyway. That energy's being awoke, the old self. And so you have to get control of it, like be the parent of it, you know what I mean? And be aware of it and know that's going to happen. And when that starts to happen, though, what happens, what I found is in this process is that I start to catch it now. I start to see it and go, okay, the old self is there and I don't like the old self. So I go and I listen to a motivational speaker. I go and, excuse me, find a, something, a mantra that I listened to on YouTube that brought me back to that higher level. Whatever, I just fix it right away because I'm aware of it and I address it. And I actually talk to her and say, you know what, you're not welcome here. I love you, but I'm on a new journey now and I want you to go find your peace. And I usually send her where the children play because it's usually a childhood self-sabotage. And, but yeah, you got to get control over it. And know you're not failing. Know that's a normal part of the process, is self-sabotage. We're self-saboteurs. We are. Especially if you're an addict, especially if you've had trauma. So all of it's normal. So, but if you do the work, it becomes easier and easier. Practice, 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 just like anything. People always say, I wish I could be as psychic as you. I wish I could do that. I'm like, all you really have to do is practice. I've been doing this since I was little, so it's just there. You know what I mean? It's a natural thing. But it, I still have to practice with it. You know what I mean? I still have to, sometimes I'll go on social media and just offer free readings so I can keep it up. You know what I mean? So it's practice, practice, practice. So that's all I have for you today. Let's say a quick prayer. Get happy. She's been sleeping all the time. Let's call out to our spirit guides real quick. I call upon my spirit guides. Come walk with me, give me the strength I need to see with clear vision my own life path. I ask that you give me the tools that I need and show me the tools that I need and help me be aware of the tools that I need to continue on my journey. I ask that you help me heal all the trauma in my life. I ask that you help me become aware of my self-saboteur, and I ask that you help remind myself that I deserve love and I'm connected to a higher source, and that higher source is with me all day long and I have access to it whenever I want. Thank you, Great Spirit, Aho. Say your morning prayer, your morning shout out to Spirit every morning and ask your spirit guides to walk with you. Ask for whatever you're needing. It doesn't have to be word for what I say. I know I have people who want to be my students And the thing is they want to do things exactly like I do. But the thing is, you have to find what works for you. Take bits and pieces of what worked for me, if they work for you, but also find things that work for you. And say the prayers you need. If you need help with money, ask. Oh yeah, I should have said that, because I don't. If you say, help me feel, word it like this. Help me out, Spirit. I'm stumbling over my words because I'm all over the place. You have to word it like this. I ask Spirit to remind me how much I love money and how much money loves me, and I attract money in a healthy, strong way. That type of thing. You have to change your vibration with everything in your life that you're struggling with. You just do. And that includes money, because money is an energy. We'll talk about that on another podcast if you guys want to. Leave in the comments what you want me to talk about. And then one more card, and I gotta call it a day because this is going over. The farther gate, bold step forward. The farther gate, bold step forward. I think that makes sense, you know. You just gotta keep going forward. And trust, I think, you know, a big part of this work is trust. Trust yourself, trust the universe, trust your brain that it knows what you need, it knows how to operate, and trust your instincts on where you're going and what you're doing. All right, my loves, that's all I have, my spirit warriors. I'm proud of all of you. I love all of you. Stay forward. And what I mean by stay forward is keep your energy focused to your future self, your new self, not your old self. Heal that old self, but don't stay in that past. It will block you from your future. I promise you it will. It just has no other choice. I love you all. Thanks for watching. Remember to go to my podcast on Spotify. And thanks for watching. Love you all.